Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? Can you hear me okay? If you can hear me, yeah, perfect. Thank you, Hannah. Okay, let's just give it a couple more minutes for more people to join here. If my microphone's too loud, too quiet, just let me know. There's quite a lot of background noise today, so apologies, but we'll do the best that we can, and then we'll get started. So just bear with us for 2 minutes. So if you need to get coffee or tea, do it right now. I've got mine, so go get yours. Is the right? Took me a second to figure out what you were meaning, Sean. I wish. Irish coffee. Okay, so we'll start in 60 seconds. Okay, we're streaming to YouTube as well, as an FYI. He does mean booze, yeah. Okay, awesome. Right, let's start getting going here. All right, guys. So if you don't know me, I'm Stefan, the CEO and founder of SUBTA, the subscription e-commerce platform. And I'm really excited today because actually a couple of announcements. The first one being that I don't know, for any of you existing SUBTA merchants, you may have noticed that we released our new checkout 5-6 weeks ago. I didn't want to really shout from the hills quite yet, and still not ready to yet for some reasons that we're keeping secret just now, which are cool. Working on some things, but so far, I'm pleased to announce that we've seen an overall increase in revenue across the platform for you guys, the merchants, by 40% since rolling out the new checkout, which is pretty impressive, to be honest with you. So long may that continue. I just wanted to share that and brag about that statistic. So that's number one. Number two is we have Chris George today joining us for this Q&A, and he is a really, really cool guy. I've spent time with him myself personally. Really great guy. And also he's the co-founder of Gentleman's Box, who are a very prominent subscription box, which makes literally the perfect gift for any man out there. So if you have a husband or a brother or boyfriend, then consider Gentleman's Box as an ideal gift for them. So Chris is also the co-founder of Subscription Summit, which is the biggest conference for subscription box entrepreneurs like us in the US, and possibly the world, actually. And third point, Chris is also co-founder, I believe, maybe even founder of the SUBTA, SUBTA. So Chris will share all this stuff with you, but we'll cover more of that at the end. But first of all, let me just bring Chris to this screen first of all. So let me find him first to invite him to the screen. Make sure it's the right Chris. Chris, if you're listening, can you confirm that your username is 595? Hold on, I just jumped around there. Hold on. Yes, that's the same image. Okay, cool. I'll invite you now. Bam. Yes, invite Chris. Accepted and connecting. Cool. Just let's give him a second to connect here with us.
Hey, Stefan.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Hold on 2 seconds. My audio is actually not coming through my headphones right now. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry, guys. Fun. Settings. Here we go. For whatever reason. Oh, I think this is actually my computer that needs to be changed. Here we go. Here we go. I think we're good to go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yeah, it's working now. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today, man. I'm really excited to have you here. You are a bit of a legend when it comes to the subscription box community. So I'm really excited to share you and the story that you have with our audience from the Subscription Box Entrepreneurs Group. So first of all, do you want to maybe share the kind of the story behind the Gentleman's Box? We'll start there, and then we'll go. I've got some other questions for you. We'll then go from there.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Stefan, for having me on. It means a lot, and everything you've done as well in the industry means a ton. I'm excited to be here, so thank you again. And thank you, everybody that's on the line watching. The Gentleman's Box we launched in November of 2016. The inspiration behind it was, one, I saw that there was an opportunity in the subscription space, but also, men don't like to shop. And we realized that, and we saw that there was an opportunity to supply men with gentlemen's accessories and essentials and deliver it to their door. So we were fortunate enough to have some early success, which has led to the starting of the Subscription Summit, which Stephanie mentioned is the largest event specific to the subscription box space, as well as SUBTA, which is a trade association, and all of that in an effort to continue to build a community and continue to help all of the other box entrepreneurs grow and excel in their business.
Nice. Yeah, awesome. First of all, before we continue, Hannah, you said you can't hear Chris. Can everybody else hear Chris? Hannah, maybe you need to refresh your browser. Can we just confirm that before we continue here? Okay, Joseph, you can hear us. Okay, loud and clear. Okay, cool. Hannah, try refreshing your browser and joining us again. It might fix it. Okay, awesome. We're good. Yeah, so I can vouch for this. The Subscription Summit was the one I went to was the 2015, was it?
The first year, yeah.
Yeah, it was
come a long way.
It's come a long way from the sounds of things, and I can't wait to go this year. But that was an awesome event. Just to make that known, I had a really good time there, and I think everybody could benefit from actually attending and networking with one another, because there's a lot of intelligent people there and a lot of people who can give input that will help you take your business to that kind of like next level. The SUBTA part of things is really interesting to me because that's relatively new as far as I'm aware. So maybe we can talk a bit more about that at the end. But yeah, and also congratulations again with Gentleman's Box. It's
thank you so much.
You guys are onto something there. If you're comfortable with it, if you're not, no worries. Have you got any vanity metrics that you could possibly share with the audience?
I'm sorry.
It's okay if not.
Yeah. No, so maybe break that down into a couple other questions. Like, give me some specifics in regards to that.
I mean, maybe like total number of boxes shipped or something like that. Like in your,
So for sure, yeah. So we did nearly 5 million in revenue in 2017, which was up. It was up 100% from the year before. Wow. Total boxes shipped, gosh, probably over 300,000 to 400,000 so far. So
that's incredible.
Having good growth and continuing to grow on it and continuing to come out with more product lines. So, super exciting going into 2018 really, and what we've got planned for this year.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah.
So the first question that I've got for you actually is, what's like the biggest challenge you guys have faced? I mean, I like to ask everybody this question. What's the biggest lesson or challenge that you faced in your journey with the Gentleman's Box?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of challenges, right? And you learn a ton. We started this business bootstrapped. We put $40,000 in a bank account and it's still there. So it's exciting, and, it's challenging trying to scale without taking investor money. Mm-hmm. I think, you go through a ton of challenges. One of the biggest thing, and I think someone's going to ask this question, but, in terms of inventory management, right? Trying to figure out like how much inventory to buy, you don't want to be left with too many and trying to determine how many we need to order based on our growth. And man, I mean, there was a point where we had like $200,000 in inventory sitting in our warehouse, and like I literally have a heart attack every time I walked in there. Like, why is it all here? But you start to learn to control it. You start to get creative in ways to move previous boxes. So I think we've learned, and we're still learning. But one of the challenges early on was inventory management. It's probably still a continued challenge, but you just work towards managing it properly. Nice.
Yeah, I think the kind of cash flow and inventory management seems to be one of the biggest pain points for most people. Yeah, that's interesting. So to be clear, does that mean you're bootstrapped? Is that what you just said there?
Yeah, we bootstrapped everything. We started just with the founders and made enough revenue to hire our first marketing associate who's still here. And now we've got 11 people on the team, 11 full-timers. We have our own warehouse. We're moving to a bigger office space in June. We just got a new warehouse as well. So I think it's nice when you're bootstrapped. I think it keeps you humble. It keeps you really being careful on how you're spending your money. It keeps you within your budget and doesn't allow you to overspend and get too wild with trying different marketing strategies. I just see that a lot with a lot of people I've had experience with, and a lot of people in any business. They get $1 million in funding, or they get $10 million in funding, and with like this ridiculous valuation from somebody in San Francisco, and you get to a point where you're spending more than you have, and then a year later, 2 years later, you're starving for more money to stay afloat. So I like the journey we've taken. We're not building our business on trying to just pump a bunch of subscribers. We're building towards profitability.
Nice.
And that's been a strong focus of ours for the last year. And it's a big focus for 2018, 2019.
That's awesome, man. Like, honestly, kudos to you, because like we're bootstrapped as well. And I think bootstrappers get it, like, with one another. And like what you just said there about focusing on profitability, that seems to be like a recurring theme for bootstrappers alike, because you understand that the cash is your oxygen for your business, and it's all about that kind of sustainable approach. So like that's mad. That's actually really, really good. So congratulations there. Yeah, that gets me excited. I'm like, yes. I just did a podcast actually earlier about bootstrapping actually, and there was a lot that came up just similar to what you just said. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. Okay, so what we'll do now is I'll go through the questions that the audience have asked, and I'll mark them as off one by one. I don't know if we'll get through all 13, to be honest with you, because we are, you're an extremely busy guy. I know you're back to back with the run up to the Subscription Summit. So I've got 45 minutes. We'll probably do half an hour of questions. So let's see how far we can get through. I also have another question that I'm going to try and fit in at some point later on in this. So let's get going. Okay, so the first question is from Greg, and it's, how do you get companies to partner with you by putting their products in your box? Do they give you them for free or have some sort of deal with you? What's in it for them, and how has this changed from when you started out compared to now with the large number of subscribers that you have? Yeah, great question. So, earlier on, it's a little bit more difficult because you're just starting, right? The thing about a subscription box is it's a marketing tool. In a lot of instances, it's a marketing tool when you're in the box space where it's a discovery value play, right? There's subscription boxes where it's not a discovery, like a Dollar Shave Club, where it's a depleting product and it's your own brand and you're giving your subscribers something that they need every month, right? When you're in the discovery phase, like the Gentleman's Box, it's a marketing play. And when we're talking to a wholesaler, whether we had 300 subscribers, when we had 300 subscribers, it was like, hey, I need these at, less than wholesale. We're going to take your product and we're going to put it in front of, 300 to 500 targeted subscribers that fit your audience. I'm not asking you to give this to me for free, but I'm saying, hey, give this to me at your cost. It's essentially a free marketing tool for you, right? Definitely more difficult early on, and earlier on it's about finding closeout deals and finding products on wholesale and getting them in the box. And then as you grow,
you start to gain the ability to hit a large target audience, and that's very intriguing for the brands that are featured in the box, right? And so now you're negotiating with them saying, hey, look, I've got 10,000 people that are going to see this product, and so I need to get this at this budget, right? And as you grow, what changes is, as opposed to having to reach out to a bunch of different companies and get them to put something in your box, it's more of like you've got a laundry list of brands that want to be in the box, right? And then you start to define your business, and then you start to source your own products. So things kind of, evolve and change. Earlier stages, it's about being scrappy and negotiating and making deals and getting them to understand it's a marketing play. And as you grow, you become in demand, and then now they want to be in the box.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like you got to get to that point where you get that kind of like the buyer, the leverage, basically, selling power and buying power.
And when you don't have the leverage, you just got to be scrappy, right? You got to go out, you got to reach out to hundreds of different suppliers and find who wants to kind of join the journey, right? And sometimes it's like, hey, I know you want to give me this tie for $5 and I need it for $3. Well, I'll commit to putting it in this month's box, and I'll commit to putting it in another one in 6 months. And so that kind of gets you some of that volume and looks a little bit more intriguing to a potential supplier. Yeah,
that's a really good idea, actually. Because then I guess if you can show them the trajectory of your growth as well, you can say, look, we're going to be at this level by that point. And, sharing that vision as well is really important. That's a really good piece of advice, actually. Okay, cool. Awesome. I think a lot of people struggle with this one, actually, the reaching out and it's there's so many points in a business where you're just going to have to do the cold approach, like, emailing and calling and just picking up the phone and just getting on with it. And there's going to be a lot of rejection. So a follow-up question from me is, how do you deal with that rejection?
I think it's easier now, probably, because more brands are familiar with this model. It was interesting. There was like 3 brands that we worked with that ended up starting their own box after being featured in ours. I think that they found they were, had a rude awakening that it's not that easy to start a subscription box. But you just keep being scrappy. Go to the next guy. If they don't want it, then you go to the next guy. And somebody's got old inventory or closeouts, and you leverage that. Like, look, I don't need your newest and greatest pair of socks. Like, give me one of last year's models that you've got an extra 300 laying around. You can dump them on me, right? So I think that one thing to keep in mind, though, is you're not looking to just put anything in your box. The subscription box business is about the experience, and you need to make sure that when you're putting together a box, there's a theme behind it. There's somebody that like put time in curating that, because that experience is so important to the subscriber on the other end. So, that's one thing that we excel at, is like nobody looks at our box and says, oh, the gentleman's box grabbed a bunch of things and threw them in there. Like, no, like these make sense. Like this tie matches the pocket square. Like the socks match some sort of theme to the box, and it all goes and works together.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's some seriously solid advice as well, to be honest with you. Thank you for sharing that. Let me just mark that question as answered. Thanks, Greg, for asking that question as well. It was a really good, great, exactly. Sean saying it's a great answer. I agree, 100%. Okay, so the next question here we've got from Antonio. What was the hardest part of your journey? I think I've kind of already asked that. What are your advice for getting sales and growing? So let's focus on the second part of that question. So what's your advice for getting sales and growing in those early stages specifically? It's a bit of an open question.
Yeah. I mean, so growth is probably something that everybody deals with, right? I think that a lot of it depends on your product, but using social to your advantage and putting a lot of content out there. I think like I had advice on some tools, like there's a lot of focus on people making YouTube videos. Well, I'm a big advocate of Facebook Live, right? You've got more people on Facebook. You've got more users on Facebook. And so I'm pushing my team to do more Facebook Live videos as opposed to YouTube videos, because you can take those videos, you can boost them, you can hit them to a target audience. Things could maybe go viral. I mean, I'm sure many of you listen to Alex Brown's podcast, and I've had several conversations with him. Alex Brown's a great guy. I mean, their videos went viral, and it was a big part of jumpstarting their business. But putting out great content and using social to your advantage to get followers on social is a way to really jumpstart your growth. Using influencers, I think there's a question about influencers in the future, but using influencers to drive traffic to your site is an easy way to get that brand awareness and brand exposure.
Yeah, that's some really good ground advice there, actually, because I think people get confused with social media. It's ever changing and evolving, and I mean, I agree with the Facebook Live aspect, because although we're not streaming today, because usually Facebook gives us technical difficulties, and also I think the experience is better bringing it here. We will be publishing this on Facebook afterwards, just to make that clear.
But, and then you can push that and boost it, and you don't have to spend tons of dollars, right? But it's also, the other ways you can do that is, like, let's say you get a following on Facebook. It's like, cross promote your social networks, right? Like, here's a clip on Facebook, a minute of it. Go to our YouTube page and watch the rest of this video. Now you've got a subscriber on YouTube. Or doing a post on Instagram that's like a little teaser video, and it's like, go on our Facebook page and watch the rest of the video. And so now you're getting followers on all your social networks.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. And I think it kind of comes back to the whole, as cliche as it is, content is king, literally, and it always will be.
Yeah,
I think, because you can add actual value through content, and it's becoming more costly to create good quality content because the bar is being risen as well. But when you're a startup and you're an entrepreneur who's just getting started, you've got one of two things: you've either got money or time, and you should leverage that time. So okay, awesome. Okay. Let me move on to the next question. Okay. This is from Hannah. Can you please explain how you use your online tools to strategically increase page traffic? So I'm not entirely sure what online tools refers to specifically, but I guess like
maybe like a Taboola or an Outbrain.
Okay.
I think that that question can go in a lot of different directions, but one thing that I've seen, and this is experience, right? Through influencer marketing, through some social posts, through content, you're going to hit like this growth trajectory where you're starting out fast and you've got all this steam, right? And you get to maybe 1,000 subscribers, and it's great. It's a great feeling. Things start to then level off, right? And they start to plateau, whether that's at 1,000, whether that's at 500 or 5,000. And now it's about like true like marketing, conversion, top of the funnel traffic, Facebook retargeting. So our biggest success we have is with Facebook retargeting ads. And I think that you'll find that you'll get your best customer acquisition cost with Facebook retargeting ads. And when you use online tools like Taboola or Outbrain, it's driving more top of the funnel traffic that you then use your Facebook retargeting ads to hit. We see that when we spend more money with Outbrain and Taboola, that our customer acquisition costs on Facebook drop.
Interesting.
So, using these online tools to drive more top of the funnel traffic and then hitting them with retargeting ads through Google, through Facebook, I think you'll see the most success.
That's awesome. And I'm guessing that you're basically just producing extremely engaging content, and then once you have that retargeting kick, them on your custom audience, essentially the cost is so small to get them to click back onto your website. So that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Nice.
Right. And then like something we're working on, but another cool thing too to do is trying to, when customers are coming to your site, is getting some information on them, right? Like getting an email address. And a typical brand, including us at this point, it's like a little pop-up comes up and it's like, hey, put in your email for 30% off your box, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you see those pop-ups everywhere and everybody thinks it's annoying. And it is. I mean, I'm annoyed when I see it on other sites. But I think what's super engaging and what's super smart is if you can kind of find a unique way to have a pop-up that comes up that requests their email and in return gives them something of value in regards to content. So an example that we're coming up with is like, type in your email so you can find out who your who your celebrity gentleman lookalike is.
I love that. Like, I mean,
right? So like you might like want to do it because just like when Facebook baits you with that, right? Like, hey, who's your celebrity lookalike, or who's your superhero? Answer these questions, and this is who your superhero. Like everybody loves doing that. So we're trying to come up with a creative way to engage the customer by giving them something of fun and value for punching in their email address, not just by saying here's a coupon code, right? Because that's what everybody does. So I think that's a great way and a good piece of advice for everybody out there starting their box or that has a box is come up with something creative and give something of value in return to getting that email. Now you've got an email that you can put into a drip series and convert.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. That's so good because like immediately I'm interested. Like I'm like, okay, it's just got my brain engaged,
like, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because we get bombarded with the same stuff over and over and over again. You have to really think outside of that box, no pun intended, but kind of intended at the same time. All right, let me just mark that one off as answered. Thank you, Hannah, for asking that. Okay, so the next question here, this is quite good actually, from Greg. Do you have a surplus of boxes each month because you got more in case of more subscribers, or do you have a cutoff date? And if so, when do you get the products and ship them?
Yep. So great question, Greg. And again, this is something we struggled with for a long time. We always have a surplus of boxes. I think there's been 2 months where we sold out, and we were strategic with that. We actually ordered less. We sold out mid-September. And what we did then was we allowed the customer to pick their first box when signing up, and we gave them options of previous boxes that we had extra of. And so we got to sell out in September, which was a great feeling. And then we got to move some of our previous boxes, which, freed up inventory cash flow and drove revenue. And we saw no decrease in sales. We actually now have made our website when you go to sign up for the gentleman's box, you can pick your first box. We think that that's going to decrease first box churn because it's going to give the customer something that they know they're buying. And now then after that, in month 2, they're in the discovery phase.
That's really
but things that you can do to really help with the surplus is a ton of email marketing to your group on moving past boxes. So in December, we did a really good job of this. It's gift giving time. But here's a perfect example of something that you can do easily implement into your business, and that's going to move a lot of your past inventory. If somebody signs up today for the gentleman's box, it's March 13th. They're going to get the March gentleman's box. And they never got an opportunity to get the February, the January, the December, the November, anything prior to that. So 3 weeks after they get their first box, we shoot them an email. Thank you so much for being a member. Here are some of the boxes that you missed in the past. Here's your opportunity to buy them at a member rate. If you were to go buy a previous box now, it'd be $34. But because you're a member, you're getting them for $25. And we sell a ton of boxes.
Awesome. Actually, that makes so much sense as a way to mitigate all of this.
Yep. And then when it comes to holiday time, like you unload it, right? Like you're shooting anybody that's ever bought a gift, you're sending them emails, selling previous boxes. Definitely a big opportunity to move a lot of that inventory.
Yeah, that's awesome. Guys, I hope you're taking notes here because these are some killer answers right here. All right, cool. I'm going to mark that as done. 3 pages, Hannah, keep at it. Honestly, that's good. All right, okay, cool. So I'm going to start picking out some questions here because we've now covered the ones that were voted by others to be answered. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. This comes up now and again. Jessica's asked, how can I save on shipping costs? Have you got any advice in that regard?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways I'd say. You definitely want to go to all of the different shipping companies and try to get them to compete for price for your business. I think early on it's probably hard. Early stages we were shipping USPS. As we got to maybe the 1,000 mark, maybe even 500, we started to reach out to DHL, FedEx, Ascendia, and to all of you here, I've got quality connections with all of them. So feel free to reach out and I can intro you to any of the shipping providers. FedEx is our presenting partner at the summit. DHL is there, Ascendia is there. And you find who gets you the best rates. It's not always about the best rates too, though. You want to make sure that they're getting the box shipped in a timely manner. But reducing shipping costs through reduce shipping costs by talking to all the providers and getting the best rates. But not also that, coming up with like a budget and coming up with a policy in terms of the weight of your box, right? So like at the gentleman's box, like nothing can weigh more than a pound. Like when the curation team is making a box, if it weighs more than a pound, that it's not going to be shipped out because shipping rates drastically jump once you hit the pound range, right? So, that may not work for everybody, but you can make a policy that you're not going to make a box that's more than 3 pounds. And that way, you know, your budget's in this 1 to 3 pound range.
Yeah.
Also, if it's something on the heavier end, then, you know, trying to take advantage of like the USPS padded envelope rates, or in the some of the rates for the flat rate box rates. But I think you're going to find that if you reach out to FedEx, DHL, Ascendia, that you'll be able to get them to compete, and you'll find better rates than if you were just to go to USPS route.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, also too, I forgot about this, but being strategic in how you're shipping it. So I'll give you a perfect example. We ship out zones 1 through 5 through DHL, and we ship out zones 6 through 8 through USPS because we get better rates based on the zone and based on how far away. We're in Michigan, so it's cheaper for us to ship out USPS to California with the USPS, and it's cheaper for us to ship to, let's say, Ohio with DHL versus USPS. So being strategic there can save you some money as well.
That's smart.
And every penny matters, right? When you're bootstrapped, if you save $1,000, you save $1,000.
Exactly. And you can put that money into advertising or just even in the bank and have it as a float for later. Yeah, that's really smart. And just to be clear, because I'm sure we have international attendees, pounds equivalent would be a kilogram, and zones would be with regards to zip codes, I believe. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let me just mark that one as answered. Oops. Not answering that one. Okay, thanks, Jessica. And also, Antonio was asking, so we can reach out to Chris? Question mark.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Feel free to put them in touch with me. It's no problem.
Okay, cool. I could tag you on like the post after we.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, okay. I love this question from Joseph here. Where do you see the men's subscription box market in the next 5 years? And I'm going to add a follow-up question, the subscription box market as well after that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think more than ever, guys are into being dapper, right? And like grooming and style inspiration is a big part of their lifestyle now. I don't know that I think that that's going to change. I do think, though, a sustainable business in, let's say, the men's market falls along the lines in regards to potentially like depleting products, right? Things like skincare, Dollar Shave Club is going to have a ton of success because guys are always going to need razors, right? But things like skincare, hair growth, I think that there's a big opportunity there. And I think that, we, internally at Gentleman's Box, have talked about different strategies along those lines. So I think that guys are going to continue to want to be looking good, feeling good, and being good, definitely 5 years from now.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. And it's only been an upwards trend since like even 10 years ago. And I remember when L'Oreal brought out their men's skincare range, and everybody was a bit like, eh? But now now guys are very comfortable with the idea of it. So I think I agree with that.
Right.
And what's your thoughts on the subscription box industry as a whole in 5 years' time as well?
I think it's just starting. You're seeing, it's the industry is growing super fast, right? At a hyper growth rate. I think it's the way people are shopping. It's the saying now of like, people are, shop in your underwear, right? You're staying home. The subscription box, but you're seeing more and more retailers pivoting to this model. I think if you're in the e-commerce space or you're a retailer and you're not thinking about how to pivot to a subscription model, that you're behind the eight ball. I think 5 years from now that you're going to see subscriptions for everything, and everything is going to be delivered to your door. I mean, look at the retail stores that are closing, right? Like there was just an announcement that Toys R Us is going bankrupt, right? And they're closing every location. Yep. Like Toys R Us, right? Like I'd actually almost argue that would be a retailer that I would think that wouldn't close, because like it's an experience. Like you take your kids to Toys R Us and they pick gifts, and like you know what I mean? Where you're seeing that stores like that are closing, and Gap is starting their own subscription box, and you saw Sephora get into the game. So I think it's just the future.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
I'm betting on it, right? Like we've got the trade association, we've got the summit, so we're betting on it.
Yeah, I think we're probably biased when both of us answer that question, but we're here for a reason. So okay, thank you for answering that. I've actually got I think a question that would fit quite nicely now myself, to fit it in now. So with regards to the future of subscription boxes, what do you reckon about like marketplaces, for example? Because I think we've already answered questions about advertising and marketing at the early stages. And you guys are far beyond that now. What's your thoughts on marketplaces like Amazon and other ones like that, and how they would impact like your growth and sales and your business value, for example?
Yeah, well, look, and I think that you're going to probably get some sales from a marketplace, but it's not going to be your core business. It'll drive some sales, but if you're going to hit that scalable growth, then you need to come up with other marketing strategies and be able to come up with influencer social strategies to help drive traffic to your site. I think a marketplace can help drive some sales, but it's not going to be like the all and be all for the growth of your business.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's straight to the point. I would definitely agree with that. It's like supplemental almost to your marketing strategy.
Right.
Okay. I'm just looking through these other questions.
When I think about like Amazon, like it's almost like it's scary almost, right? And it's interesting because I've got a lot of conversations with Amazon, and we may be part of a beta test with them, but we they're trying to take over the world, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, do you want, sometimes people go to Amazon because they think they're getting a deal. Mm-hmm. So like, you want to be careful of like offering discounts on Amazon and then they're hitting like your search engine optimization, and they're taking sales from you, and they're taking a percentage of the sales. So I think with marketplaces, like you've got to be a little bit careful with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty.
And like, we're not on any of them. Like the only site that we're not, I don't know if you would call My Subscription Addiction a marketplace. I mean, it's not really. It's a blog or review site, and they're great, but we're not on any marketplaces at this point.
Yeah. I think it's interesting as well, because if you think about Amazon, for example, it's almost like a monopolization, and they get away with it. I don't even know how that's possible now, but that's pretty terrifying.
Yep.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna ask one more question here, and then we'll wrap up. We've got through most of them. So the next question is from Jessica, which is, with regards to quarterly versus monthly, what would you say are the pros and cons of each? Because I know you guys do both, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
I love quarterly. To be honest with you, I think that's the future of subscriptions. I think if all of you have a monthly box, you should be thinking about a quarterly and potentially moving to that model. Quarterly solves a couple problems. One, people are canceling for really one of three reasons, right? They're going to cancel one because they didn't like the product. They're going to cancel two because it's too expensive, or they're going to cancel three because they've got too many items, right? Well, when you go to quarterly, you're helping to mitigate two of those issues. One, you're not hitting them every month with a payment, so it's kind of taking away that financial burden. And three, and the other thing is you're not hitting them with too many items where they're getting product fatigue. So they're getting it, every quarter as opposed to every single month. And there's a lesser opportunity they're going to cancel because they've got too many items. So I love quarterly. I think quarterly is great. Our quarterly box has had tremendous growth. We launched it last September. We sold out September's quarterly. We sold out January's quarterly, and we're going to sell out our March quarterly. So we're super excited, and we're actually building out a whole new landing page. And we're A/B testing, driving towards quarterly versus our monthly.
Nice, yeah, that's fascinating. Would you say that the quarterly makes it easier to predict and plan the inventory side of things?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you got 3 months to predict for inventory. You've got 3 months to sell the box out, right? And also it's a good retention tool. Right. So like somebody's canceling their monthly and we're like, hey, do you know about our quarterly? And we're moving them over to a quarterly box.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, first of all, I'm just going to mark that one as answered. So I think we're nearly coming up for time now, but what I've done is I've actually just enabled a call to action button on this event page for the Subscription Summit. Cool. So Chris has been kind enough to share a link for the group so that we can offer a discount or they can offer a discount for startups for the Subscription Summit to get a discount for the tickets. do you want to share just like in the next couple of minutes, like, you know, a little bit more about the kind of format for the subscription summit, and then, you know, how they can sign up for the SUBTA as well, actually, and what the benefits would be for people for SUBTA?
Absolutely. And, you know, so I think I might start with SUBTA real quick.
Okay.
You know, one thing about SUBTA is we built that to continue to have a community and allow for networking outside of the annual event that we have every year. You know, Stefan knows from our first year, it felt like we made 100 new friends, right, at the event. Totally. It was super fun. And then, you know, in Austin, Texas, there we sell out of tickets. We got almost 500 attendees there, over 42 speakers. And we realized that we don't want to wait a year for all of us to be able to connect. SUBTA is free to join. And so for all of you out there, it's an opportunity to keep up with the industry. We've got a weekly newsletter that goes out called The Front Porch. It gives you industry stats. It gives you updates on podcasts similar to Stefan's with other industry leaders. And it allows you to stay engaged in the community as well as meet vendors to the industry. So if you wanted to get in touch with somebody at DHL, you could do that through SUBTA as well. And it's free. So it's really a no-brainer to join. We do have another level, which some of you may want to consider, and that's $15 a month. And one of the biggest assets to that is that you're a part of a SUBTA Slack channel, which has the co-founder of Loot Crate in there.
Oh, wow. Has
the co-founder of Yoga Club and Play, and all these industry leaders are in this Slack channel where you can ask questions. And it's like your opportunity to really be able to ask experts in the space different questions. So, you know, I encourage you guys at a bare minimum, join SUBTA for free. You're going to get a bunch of free content and be able to keep up on the industry. And then that leads to the summit, right? The summit is your one opportunity per year to get together with a ton of different experts, a ton of like-minded entrepreneurs, from everything from the startups to the growth to the experts, and just hear their stories, exchange advice. We're expecting 700 plus attendees this year. Nice. We've got a whole exhibitor hall with close to 70 exhibitors and over 70 speakers. I think it's 72 different speakers, everything from, you know, the co-founder and CEO of Honest Company is going to be there speaking, and you've got HelloFresh there, and a lot of industry experts. So we're super excited for it. I encourage all of you to make it if you can. And if you fill out the startup application on the website, there's an opportunity to get $200 off your ticket. So your ticket will be $450 right now instead of $650. As well as any of you that are still just starting out, we're having a startup pitch competition. So it comes with a $5,000 prize, as well as another $5,000 in other prizes, like one company is donating your first 1,000 boxes. We're talking to some of the shipping companies to do your shipping for free for the first 1,000 boxes. And one of the sponsors is doing all your credit card processing for free for your first 25,000 sales. Yeah. So I encourage you guys to apply for that as well. And hopefully one of you guys will be up there as part of the pitch competition.
That's really awesome. And Hannah says that's amazing. I agree 100%. That's an opportunity, guys. If you can jump on it, I would jump on that. Chris, you're a legend. Honestly, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all this advice. Like, some seriously good answers there. You've got me excited. I think everybody would agree that you are the definition of the gentleman's box. There you go. A gentleman.
I appreciate it a ton. You know, we're here to help grow this community. Feel free to reach out, guys. And you can reach me at chris@subta.com. Happy to help. And we want to continue to grow the community, help you guys grow your business. And I hope to see you guys in Denver this year.
Nice one, man. I'll be there as well. So hopefully.
Yeah, and Stefan will be there as well. So you get to meet the real celebrity.
Stop. But yeah, so I'm going to publish this video afterwards if you want to even share it as well, Chris. And anybody else
for sure.
wants to see a review of everything, it will be available as well. So, Chris, man, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on. We'll talk again.
Thank you, brother. See you guys. Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys. He is an absolute legend. I'm really pleased with some of the answers he gave there. In fact, all of the answers he gave there. So I hope you got some value from this. So I'm going to need to decompress after that for 15 minutes, but then I'm also going to do the review of the feedback session for one of the websites that I picked out last night. There's a post on the group if you want to go find it and find out more about it. But thank you all for attending today. We'll be doing another event soon enough, usually every 2 weeks, give or take. And we'll try and find the next guest. And if you have any specific questions or topics or ideas, we're always open to suggestions. And lots of big announcements as always coming out. So stay tuned, and we'll see you on the other side. Cheers, guys. Rock on.